Samuel Kem and Justin Ford joining Coach Haug today. And, Coach, we'll just start with your final thoughts on Sacramento State and looking ahead to the Little Brown Stein game against the Vandals.
Yeah, we're disappointed with not getting the win on Saturday and certainly a bit frustrated with that loss. So we need to move forward against Idaho, who's our second oldest rival. I think they're a well-coached, tough football team. I think they're really good on their front seven on defense. They're a little bit hard to get a beat on offensively. They've got a lot of offense, so we'll have to get into the plan this week and get a good one together.
Coach, you mentioned after the game Saturday that for some of the younger guys, the picture maybe was a little bit slow in developing. How do you sort of accelerate that down the stretch here?
I think the more you play, the slower it gets for you.
Bobby, just look at kind of the running backs. You touched on Junior Bergen a couple weeks ago about making that conversion from receiver to running back. What about that? About his skill set gave you confidence to do that, and what have you liked from him so far? At that position.
Well, he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. He did a lot of it in high school, so we saw that out of him. He's done a good job of taking care of the ball. I think he's worked hard at the protection piece, and then again, he's pretty good with the ball in his hands.
Just to kind of follow up on that too, being a true freshman, kind of learning a position like that. How have you seen his growth? Is he starting to get the flow of the game? Are you noticing some growth there, or I guess with him, like how quickly did he start picking that position up, especially now that he's gotten more reps with it?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, true freshmen are just trying to survive. They're trying not to let the team down. They're, when they're playing, there's usually some injury or something like that. So he's doing a good job of holding up his end, and I'm proud of him.
Coach said Idaho has a lot on offense. Is that more of a week to week they kind of change based on their opponent, or is that each game they just throw a lot of different stuff at you?
Yeah, I think, Sean, it's a lot based on which quarterback's in the game. They're kind of different based on who they play, and there have been some games where they had two of them in and then they move them around a little bit. So try to get a handle on that.
And then just in your career of coaching, how many times, especially at this juncture of the season, do you see maybe teams try to emulate maybe the two running back thing that Sac State did? And how much do you maybe have to think that Idaho might try and emulate that moving forward or something like that?
Yeah, I think Sacramento State's a little different. I mean, that's their plan. I think most of the others, it's out of necessity. It's injury or whatever. So, I don't know. It's been kind of obviously Eastern's not doing it. Their guy seems to be durable and holds up, but a lot of teams are out of necessity playing multiple players there.
For all three of you guys, or any or all of you who wants this, what gives you hope going forward about turning things around?
Can be more specific for us, will you?
Just after losing two of the past three games, what gives you hope about getting back on a regular winning track going forward?
Got it. Well, anybody that's lost a game, or anybody that's played, has lost a game. So that's what you do when you lose a game. You go practice and you go to work, and you go try to get the next one. That's what competition is, and we have a competitive group.
Justin, could you just talk about the mentality of the defense moving forward? How did you think you guys performed Saturday, and what's next for the Montana defense?
I think our defense, we got to a slow start. I feel like we should have been more aggressive earlier, as it just mentality-wise for us. I think we missed some tackles, myself included, some mental errors. And just going forward, we just got to be ourselves, be us, play fast, physical, just play Montana football.
Sammy, I haven't talked to you for the last couple of weeks, so I was curious, when you passed Samori on the on the career receptions list? Did you give him a text, let him know that you passed him?
No, I actually didn't even know I did that. He just told me that, and I was like, wow, really? I didn't even know that. But that didn't even occur to me that I had passed him. I wasn't even focused on anything like that. I was focused on
I think we should both send him a text right after this.
I was focused on what us and our team could do better to improve. Focused on what we got to do here to get better. But that is an awesome milestone, and I will have to give him some crap about that for sure.
Coach, you've mentioned analytics a few times this year. Just curious on how, when you first started coaching to now, how maybe that has changed and how all of the data has maybe changed, and maybe what you have learned or used as far as analytics go now compared to when you first started.
Yeah, there's some people that really believe in it. I don't think it has a huge application in football personally. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Amen to that. Sammy,
Yeah, there are a lot of people that really rely on it, you know, and I see it hurting more than helping generally.
hurt baseball too, no question.
Yeah.
Sammy, Idaho, what do you guys think of when you think of Idaho as players? Because I know that the fan bases a lot of times, especially people that have been around it a lot, they think of it as a rivalry. There's a trophy. But as players, how do you think about this game?
I think it's another opportunity for us to go show who we are as a football team and what we are about. I see another opponent in front of us. I see guys who wanna beat us, and I see another opportunity to go out there and compete.
Well said.
Sammy, if I'm not wrong, the last time you guys played Idaho was the game you got hurt, right? And I guess so. Is this game any more important to you than any other game would be?
No, it's not. Nah.
It's a freak injury.
Coach, your thoughts on just the dynamic of the rivalry with Idaho?
Well, it's our second oldest one, and there's a lot of Grizzly fans that care a lot about this game, especially, you know, guys that are my age or a little bit older. They think this is a really important game. You know, for us it is. We are familiar with them, and we see them in recruiting and everything else. It's been a hard-fought game in the history of it, and that's kind of what we expect this weekend.
Bobby, just Garrett Graves, another guy who's been stepping up lately. He kind of came here. He's bounced around to a couple different positions. What about his skill set? Did you like that? You like him at safety, but he's been able to kind of, you know, be kind of a utility man because now he's returning kicks as well.
Yeah, you know, Garrett's a good athlete. He's learning the game. Obviously, playing a bunch of positions has accelerated really how fast he's been able to learn the game. And then, you know, it was great to he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. It was great to see him get that big kick return last weekend.
Justin, just kind of working alongside him with the defense, how has Garrett and some of these other guys, you know, seeing big minutes, you know, due to some of these injuries, kind of acclimated to the defense and helped you guys out who, you know, you guys have been starting for the whole year?
Yeah, for sure. I think even back to our 2 games in the spring, you've seen like the depth without defense. We feel like we can go into that at any point, next man up mentality. And I think we're doing a good job as a team. Secondary, Garrett's been good, stepping up, making tackles, good at communicating. So it's just good to have that depth and be able to see him go out there and make plays.
Coach Mike Bresky's made a couple stops here at Montana, so I've watched his defenses over the years. Does the defense at Idaho now look like a Mike Bresky defense? I mean, is it similar to what he's been running pretty throughout his career?
Well, they've got on their defensive staff, they have some guys that we have really high regard for with Mike and Luther Ellis and Vernon Smith, and they play really hard on defense. I think they're very physical. I really like their front 7 and what they do. So you know they do a lot of good things. They tackle. They're coached well.
Sammy, in your mind, what's the next step offensively for Montana?
Just continue to prepare like we know how to prepare, work hard throughout the week, and just keep our heads down. I know how we prepare, and I know how hard this team works. We know what we need to get done, and we know how we need to improve.
Sammy, I think there was just like an article that came out that said that the Kibbie Dome was one of the weirdest or most unique domes that are out there or whatever. Just thoughts on like when you first walked into it, what your impressions were.
I don't know. To me, I kind of think all domes kind of look the same. Thought it was pretty cool, I guess. I thought it was another opportunity to play football. It was going to be fun, and it was a fun day.
Just Sammy, looking at kind of some of the offensive struggles last couple of weeks, obviously some other guys having to step up. Are there any key or specific areas you guys could see some improvement, or what kind of stands out to you when you kind of review the last couple of games?
Nothing really stands out to me. I just feel like we just have to execute better and be focused in on making plays when they come to us. We just got to execute. That's really what I think it comes down to, execution.
Bobby, in my years covering you, there's always these moments in games where you force a turnover, you get a big play and kick teams, but oftentimes you have to capitalize on that afterwards. So how important is that, just the style you guys play, taking advantage of the moment when the moment is there?
Well, I think when games are close and you're struggling to score, I mean, those are obviously huge in every game. If you're up a bunch, then excuse me, it's not as big a deal. But you know, that game last weekend, there were a whole bunch of junctures in the game where we could have made things better for ourselves in terms of outcome, and we didn't do it.
Justin, unlike these two, you've never, I guess, been part of a game against Idaho. So with a rivalry like this, you don't really know how it feels. How do you really get yourself prepared for that mentally and like get up for a rivalry game?
For sure. Like as a team, I feel like our preparation is always going to be great. I don't go into no week specifically like preparing better than the next one. I'm like, everyone is just as important. So I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm working hard, and we'll see them on Saturday. We'll be ready.
Bobby, I was just curious if you had any thoughts on playing indoors or specifically the Kibbe Dome.
Kind of. I mean, it's like night games, right? I don't particularly like night games. I think it's a day game. Saturday afternoons, college football. I mean, I've coached a lot of games indoors over the years. Haven't coached in this league in particular. But it's what it is.
Bobby, just playing in a dome, do you have to do anything different in preparation throughout the week? Like, I don't know if cramping's a thing more in a dome, like indoors like that, or is there just anything in general you have to do different in preparation throughout the week when you play in a dome?
Yeah, we don't have to wear our thermals.